1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Hey, we're in business.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mayor, it's your nickel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, our septic tank report made a little bit of progress. RC&D has completed 3 more of their contracts, so they now have 8 more left to do. And the ones we're doing in-house, we still have 3 more left to do. So moving along a little bit slowly. As you probably have heard, the audit came out right at the end of the year, as it usually does. I wanted to go over some of the highlights from the audit with you. Over time, increases or decreases in net position serve as a useful indicator of whether the financial position of the county is improving or deteriorating. It's always the first thing I look at anyway. The net position as of June 30th of 23 was $63,291,000, which was an increase in net position of $7,455,000. And as you recall, an increase in net position is sort of like a profit in the private sector. Bradley County had total bonds and other loans outstanding of $67,281,000, and according to the audit, our debt did decrease last year by a net amount of $7,433,000. Of that outstanding debt, the $67 million, $57.6 million of that is for education, and of that $57 million, $42 million is for county schools and $15 million for city schools. Bradley County continues to maintain a AA2 rating from Moody's and a AA from Standard & Poor's for general obligation bond debt. Unassigned fund balance for the general fund, $9,152,716, or 20% of the total general fund expenditures. When internal control issues are brought to our attention, we immediately take action to correct situations if possible. For instance, under the Office of County Mayor, the following issues were brought. One finding, the auditor's concern is that the liability accounts be reconciled monthly to discover any errors and correct promptly. Finance Department has put in place a reconciliation plan to reconcile on a monthly basis. And to keep all this in perspective and give you an idea of the volume of activity that we have, Bradley County's general operating funds, special funds, debt service fund, capital projects fund, and other permanent funds during the fiscal year ending in 23 included almost 100,000 general ledger transactions, approximately 42,000 invoices were keyed, approximately 36,000 warrants were written, approximately 25,000 payroll checks and direct deposits. Recap, there was one audit finding for the mayor, no instances of non-compliance that were material to the financial statements. Our long-term debt decreased by $7.4 million. Good, clean audit. Copy of the audit is on the county's and the state's website. I look forward to the audit committee meeting sometime in the near future. Any questions about any of the audit highlights? If not, one other thing I just want to mention is just a thought, but it's been made public that the director of Cleveland City Schools will be leaving soon. I believe any chance we get to look at shrinking the size of government is better for taxpayers and their citizens. Now would be a great time to sit down with our partners in the city and look at how we can better serve the students of Cleveland and Bradley County by looking at somewhat merging the two systems. Change on this level comes with a certain amount of give and take, but there are potential many benefits that make this something worthwhile to consider. Just a thought. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to reports from the committees and or districts. We'll start on our left with Commissioner Rogers, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wish everyone a happy new year. Hope everyone had a great Christmas holiday and a good New Year's. And today I have nothing to report, Mr. Chairman. Everything's doing well in the 7th.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Ledford, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also would like to wish everyone, hope everyone had a great Christmas and a happy new year. I have one item. We had a constituent down in the 6th District pass away, Tom Truelove, so we'll just ask for condolences for him. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Mason, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Everything's well in the 6th District. I do have some constituents that want to speak at the end of the meeting. I have a report on the TDOT litter grant. December 2023, county road miles was 398. State road miles was 146. City road miles was 75. Its total of litter for the month was 11,220 pounds. We recycled 650 pounds. And special thanks to Camille McGill, Thomas Bell, and Freddie Coleman with probation. These folks work really hard with me, and I couldn't do it without them as always. And those totals right there, that's, you know, how the month of December is pretty quick. So we moved pretty fast for the month of December. That's all I have, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Slater, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report today.
Thank you. Commissioner Thompson.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, talking about the city there a while ago, that sounds like somebody wanting to do Metro. What's this all about? Are they in trouble, budget trouble, ain't got no money? Spending all down here on Broad Street? What are they doing? Well, I know they've got a choice. They could probably transfer district operations to us and give us a school system, but we're talking about Metro, I guess. And next thing they want to be to give us police department and everything else, I guess. But the only thing I'd be for if we had it on the county side, where we'd have a county mayor and not a city mayor. But I'd just soon not have either one of them. But anyway, it sounds like they're in trouble one way or another. I don't know how, but they're in trouble. So anyway, I don't like it. Thank you. I've got one other thing. I'd like to recognize Logan this morning.
Thank you very much. Mr. Logan, would you?
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson and County. The matter I'm here to speak with you about involves something which has developed as a result of the opioid litigation. You honored me by allowing me to represent you in some of the matters involving the opioid litigation. The state legislature then passed the law to cause the disbursements to be made pursuant to a formula approved by them, as opposed to we were, as you know, what some people call the State Expressway for opioids, called it opioid. That division did not come through as we had proposed. So we are getting some of that paid over to us over the years. During that, in the past few weeks, there's been development regarding a matter which has been discovered as a result of research dealing with opioids. There are going to be, there is already pending some litigation in other states relating to that. I would like to present next week, if we have reached the point where I think we go ahead and take a step. I wanted to mention that to you today so we could have available for the consideration of the, they can hear me, can't they? Anybody not hear me? Okay. Thank you very much. It's always nice to see you. But I will present to you, with your permission, next week, a proposed resolution which would allow us, again, be honored to represent Bradley County, and I think approximately 10 other counties in our state, and we've had the privilege of representing most of those again. I am not telling you with certainty, which I will know by next Monday, but I think that being one of the first to engage Tennessee portion, that will allow us to perhaps recover not a state mandated amount. This will be a different bit of litigation, but it will be something that could involve hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, much like the opioid litigation, which you've heard about, and now you're receiving some funds from that. If you ask some folks about how much money I went ahead and charged the county, they will know the answer. I think most of you will know it. To the extent that there's great expenses, I would ask for set off. We were able to avoid those expenses in the opioid litigation. If we could consider this be placed on the agenda for potential resolution.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, is that all you had, Commissioner Thompson?
That's all I have.
Well, I wonder where you stand.
You know where I stand.
No, all right, we'll now go to Commissioner Gilbert, please.
I'd like to give my condolence to the Cannon family on the loss of their son. If you'd went by there yesterday and seen all the people standing out there, it was pretty mind-blowing. And I sat there and I thought, man, what a legacy that young man has left. And just like his mother and daddy, just be praying for them. Keep them in your prayers. And I have nothing else.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Winters, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the mayor was talking about consolidating our efforts to work in the school systems. I think what was brought before, not a metropolitan government at this point. I think anytime we can work with the city for the benefit of all of our students, we're better for that. I just left North Cleveland Baptist with hundreds of people following the commissioner's comments about Taylor Cannon. Taylor Cannon is Ron Spangler's grandson. Taylor Cannon is Brittany Spangler Cannon's son. And he died over the weekend. And it's a great loss to that family, great loss to the community. Fine young man. Brittany is our CFO of the Pie Center and does a great job there. And we went through the line today, many of us, and yesterday, and greeted them in the saddest part of people's lives. A year and a half ago, Ron Spangler died, and we had his funeral in the same church. The same church, a year and a half later, is his grandson. And that family, particularly mother and grandmother, really need our prayers in this community. You that have lost loved ones know the feeling and the problems to go through. 7th District is doing well. The 60 Highway is moving forward. Cleveland Middle School has had a very good beginning of the entrance, a new entrance coming in there. So the engineers have done a fine job for us that live in that neighborhood. And also, as the chair of Legal and Legislative, I would like to call a meeting for January 16th at 11 o'clock here at the commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Alford, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just the 2nd District's doing well, just continues to continuously grow larger and larger. Every time I turn around, there's new development going up. So I'm not sure where it's going to stop, but eventually where you get on the north end are getting pretty crowded. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I live out there on Urbane. It's incredible at the growth in traffic. Commissioner Hughes, please.
Mr. Chairman, I don't really have anything, but I will jump on a couple of things, and one is from Commissioner Alford. I understand growth and growth pain. We're feeling the 1st District quite a bit. Also, on the consolidation of the school system, it's something in my district I've heard several people talk about. I don't know that I kind of feel it'd fall more towards school board itself to to entertain the thought, but I know there'd be a lot of people that'd be interested in that. So, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Beck, please.
Everything's well in the first district.
Thank you very much. There are no agenda items. We'll now proceed directly to the communication from the audience. I'll recognize anyone that would like to speak for 5 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak from the audience? Please ask that you give your name.
Gentlemen, I'm Mary Wood. I am a resident of the Waterville community, along with my neighbors here. We were not aware of anything being built in our community, an animal shelter. We oppose that, and we are certainly opposed to that residential property being rezoned. I've lived there for over 50 years. I'm 80 years old. I'm not in a position to sell my property, nor am I in a position to move. We didn't know, no one in the community knew a thing about this until it came out in the paper December the 21st. We are very definitely opposed to that because of the stench, because of the noise. Dogs would be barking 24/7. That's just not something that we want to happen in our community. We not only do we have our own home there, we have rental property. We have several others. Snooky McClure here, she owns rental property there. That will absolutely make our property worth nothing. So we're needing your help to help us not let this happen. Zoning laws were enacted so that municipalities could have the authority to segment and separate different kinds of land use. This regulation protects landowners from having neighbors that conduct activities or business that would lower the quality of life or their home value. Some zoning laws have come under legal scrutiny as people challenge how restrictions imposed by the government and affect their personal rights. Zoning is meant to pressure the character of neighborhood, protect and preserve the character of the neighborhood, and provide quiet living environment. I apologize, I'm a little under the weather today. We would have had 200 other people here today. The flu, strep throat, COVID, everything is raging. So I do have some petitions here that are signed by other people, if you would like to look at those. But there again, each one of you were an elected official. You were elected to protect people like us, to help us protect our property, and to go to war for us when we need you. Now, we're not asking you, gentlemen, to help us today. We're begging you to. We cannot have this happen in our community. Snooky, would you like? The rental property that I own has been in the family since 1838. So I have got apartments there, and they are rented because it's a quiet area. And it's in my land joins the Waterville School where you're planning on building shelter. So my concern is the odor, barking, whatever, and I have 100 acres of land, farmland, agriculture there, and I think it will depreciate the value of my land. Now, during my lifetime, because I'm almost 80, and during my lifetime, I'm never planning property. I'm going to leave it to my children. But that is my income. So I had to redo apartment. Somebody moved out, and it's a disaster. So I will not get any rent off that apartment this year because I'm spending it all trying to fix up an apartment. So I'm concerned about the odor and the barking. And like I said, a lot of my renters are renting because they like it there and it's quiet. So I'm completely.
So this is the Century Farm, and it's been in the family since 18. In fact, the land that Waterville School was built on was donated by the Truitt family. And of course, since they've torn it down and they have the playground. I think I'm for that, for a shelter, but not in a residence.
Thank you very much. Our representative on the county commission to the planning commission where this will be considered is Commissioner Hughes, and he's a member of that. And the county is not building or condoning the building. We just simply declared the property as surplus and put it up for bid. It was an open bid, and that was the county's extent to it. But it will have to be considered for rezoning, and that would be before the Bradley County Planning Commission first, I believe. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Dwight Woodcock, and I'm the adjutant at American Legion Post 81. One of the positions that I have, along with Commander Williams of Shepherd and some of our local heroes, is being on the National Legislative Council. On February the 24th to the 29th, I will be leaving Cleveland, Tennessee, and going to Washington, D.C. on behalf of our veterans. Some of the things we will be discussing will be veteran suicide prevention, the National Cemetery, veterans benefits, employment, homelessness, law, order, these type of things. So I want to bring it to the council. I'll be leaving a copy of our agenda here, if I may, and on the table my business card. You have a better pulse of what's going on in our community. Email me what some of your concerns are, what's going on with our housing, what's happening right here. There's problems, as we know, all across the nation. What goes on in Seattle and Los Angeles, I can't help with. But I'm really interested in what's going on in Southeast Tennessee, how we can help our local folks here. With your condolence, if I may, I'll sit this over here. I'll entertain any questions you may have. Any questions of anyone?
Yes, sir, Commissioner Ledger.
Thank you, Dwight, for coming here and defending our veterans. I mean, you talked briefly about this, and I'm glad you came today to share this with everyone. By Dwight doing this, taking this to Washington, that will give a little bit better power for us here to protect our veterans in Bradley County. Some veterans will tell you that some of the treatment they have received over the years wasn't the greatest. So I thank you and Brian and all those folks over there at the Veterans Administration for standing up for our veterans. John Thomason sitting back there, me and him was in the Guard here on Dalton Pike, the 1st 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment. I was in from 81 to 93. We were, I joined that Guard to be a service to my county, which is Bradley County, where I've lived all my life. So I joined that in just a small token from me to protect my county if needed. But I thank you once again for standing for our veterans and being a strong representative for them. That's what our veterans need. Thank you, Dwight.
I thank you very much. I want you to know that I will not be going by myself. There's going to be a team going up there. I'll also be arriving with the department/state commander, and I'll be meeting Daniel C. Haver up there, who is our national commander, to work in concert with him on this effort. And if I may, I'll sit this on the table. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Thompson, please. We're not through with you.
Well, I appreciate the job you do. I just want to tell you, we appreciate what you do.
It's a pleasure.
Dwight, you and I have spoken, and I will follow up. I haven't yet. I had other issues this weekend, but I will follow up on my concerns with the way the veterans are treated. And most of it goes right back to our government. And anyone else, please? Commissioner Winters, please.
This is about the senior center for veterans that's been built, that we have built here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that up to speed at this point where you have all those services that you need there?
To be quite candid with you,
yeah.
John Thomason would be the better man to talk to. He's really fully up to speed on that.
Well, if that's been delayed, then maybe your meeting with Washington would be a good point to share with
Anything
that.
that you have in real time on that issue would be my pleasure to
Right.
take up.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
Very well. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Rogers, please.
I do have a question. And maybe John can help with this question too, but I had read this weekend that the veterans home is now accepting patients that aren't veterans. That they're going to be accepting anybody and everybody who needs a senior care. And I'm trying to figure out if that's accurate statement or if that's false statement. And somebody asked me about it this weekend as well. And I just didn't know if that was moving forward to where people who aren't veterans are going to be able to get into that veterans home as well. That's just something that I had heard. Is that?
I understand at this time, Dr. Rogers, that they have a number that they have to accept to be able to qualify VA for it. The first one that they accepted in was private pay, as well as the next one accepted in was private pay and Medicare. They, as of the 26th, had 12 parties, 8 men and 4 women. They were all fully qualified and fully vetted. As present, once they get around 20, as I understand, there will be a secondary survey called CMS, Certified Medical Survey, by the VA department, allowed to go ahead and take in VA patients. VA will be paying the bill, not private pay. Private pay is the way they began. A home that was built in Clarksville, he was open in 17 or 18, took them 12 to 13 months to really get full complement in. Estimated was somewhere in that time frame to be able to accept 108 parties. Wish it had been 120, but the cost when designed and the cost when entire wing. Now we only have 6 wings of 18 parties. You're welcome to go visit at any time when you walk inside the kiosk. Fill in the question as to who you're visiting and why you're there. Take a small sticker, stick it on your chest, and you're welcome to walk in there, evaluate the area, and visit the patient. Local AMVETS Post 13 able to provide ahead and provide a bingo day last Tuesday every month. Last time we were there on the 26th, we had all 12 parties going about 95 minutes bingo time. Very thankful to see that. Very thankful to see the opportunity to sit down and talk with them, interact with them, see how they're doing out there. Haven't heard anything difficult whatsoever. They're all very thankful to be there. That's the way that the Department of Tennessee State Veterans Home is able to provide here, coordinate and work with parties that are requesting help.
Thank you so much for your clarification.
Commissioner Gilbert, please.
John, how many rooms are out there?
There'll be 108 rooms, 108 parties.
There's 108 rooms out at the.
Approximately 10% spouse and husband.
I drove through there over the last week. actually drove through there last week.
Yes, sir.
And looked like it was empty. And I was thinking.
Again, they have 12 parties. They have over 40 on staff. The last thing I heard, they're expecting to hire more staff and have more residents come in. As you're well aware, unless you have the quality staff to take care of them, it's difficult to get. That's part of the challenge. Part of the challenge it was up at Clarksville. So I've been advised. I'm not the spokesman.
Right.
Just thankful to have been part of the council for the last 5 years. And you're welcome to drop out there and visit anytime you wish.
Sir. It just looks like they could actually take some of the veteran homeless folks in and, and they wouldn't need much care.
From the government agencies that they
right.
work with.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Winters, please.
While you're there, this is exactly what I was trying to get to.
Yes, sir.
When the gentleman goes to Washington, it might be good to talk to the national leaders that here we as commissioners afforded local money as well as state money to build this for service for veterans. And if veterans can't get in and use it, I mean, it's what we want to have happen is those 108 beds being filled. If they're homeless, walking the streets, and they need help, that would seems to us to be to move forward. maybe that's something that needs to be discussed with Washington.
I can
We
see
have
where
to
it
deal with
could be
that.
a discussion point, Mr. Winters.
Yeah.
Right now, that's the requirements that all the parties, Medicare, VA, and private, put on the state veterans home to be able to allow them to take them in there. I'm sure that the last 80 or so probably be area veterans. The point that they're still working on, there's over 400 now on the waiting list, which means they're fully vetted within the VA.
Yeah.
And when they get the opportunity to bring them in, there may have been 2 or 3 brought in over the holidays. He said they were adding more, sir.
You say there's so many waiting. How many are waiting?
400 over.
400 are waiting.
Yes, sir.
And we have how many?
In the 6-county area.
How many beds empty?
100. Well.
120 empty.
108 minus 12 leaves about 96.
96 empty.
96 beds empty. But they've got to have the staff to be able to care for them.
Yeah.
Again, there's a challenge there, from what I understand.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think, John, let me make a couple of comments. I'm like Howard. I'm rarely bashful about what I say, and I'm very disappointed and disillusioned with the way this has been handled on the veterans' home. We've got one gentleman out here, a local person, that donated $1 million. We've had organizations throughout the community that have had fund drives and contributed to this. They had their, as I understand it, their grand opening or something to that effect back in May. I then questioned why it wasn't being filled up. I was told by our state senator, Adam Blow, I believe he told me sometime in December we'd have a larger group of people, not 12, but a lot more than 12. I'm very disappointed, disillusioned in the way this has been handled. It's a disgrace to our veterans, really. I'm not going to be going over there, thank goodness I don't have to, but we have veterans that desperately need this. And for the gentleman, Dwight, that's going to D.C., this should be on the top of the list. Why, in the name of the good Lord, we have people other than veterans going into a veterans home is beyond my wildest imagination. But it's something to think about. Thank you.
Anyone else, sir?
Anyone
While I'm
else?
up here, if I may, Chairman, wanted to report to you we had a very fine ceremony on Reese Across America Day. Had 393 placed on veterans' graves in this county by a number of good people. We had over 150 there at the ceremony. They will be picked up 12 days from now on the 20th and disposed of in a proper fashion. Secondary, the Bradley County Veterans Honor Guard served 63 of our veterans in the past year and look forward to serving our veterans for the coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Could I follow up with what the ladies have presented? First of all, thank you all for coming sharing today. Ms. Mary and Ms. Snooki, you are, and the lady that's with you, thank you for coming, sharing this. Question I have is for Commissioner Hughes. What is their next step? What we did was basically say this property was available and what the amount it should go for, correct?
Yes.
And then the next move for what should they do with their concern? And I get it. It's a legitimate concern. It's your farm. It's your property. It's your home. It's your home. And you're wanting to, quote, protest this with 200 other people that are not able to be here. What do they need to do next? Well, as far as the planning commission plan of how you move forward with that.
At the moment, I don't even know if the sale has closed yet, but if it does close, I'm sure there'll be a rezoning, and then at that point, it has to go before zoning, which Ron Wilson would probably be the one to help you more than anything. It will have to fit within the land use requirement. Yes, please.
Why was this not public knowledge that this property was going to be auctioned off? There should have been signs put in our community to where we would know what was happening there. Nothing was there. No one in the community knew one thing about this.
Are you asking the commission? Or
I'm
are you
sorry,
asking
I'm hard of hearing and I have fluid in my ears.
Are you asking the commission or are you asking the mayor on that? Because it did go through a public meeting, and which had to be advertised.
I apologize. I can't hear you.
It did go through a public meeting and was advertised. It was just apparently wasn't paid attention to or something. I don't know. Couldn't tell you the answer to that.
Where was it advertised? There was nothing in our community about it.
It should be. It should have
Should
been.
it have not been a public auction?
It should have been in the newspaper, but you could speak to the mayor more on the auction part of it. That wasn't part of me.
Tell me what he, up here and tell me what. Not that, not to my knowledge, number one. Number two, hardly anyone gets a newspaper in. Very few people. When I went up, talked to everybody in the community, no one knew one thing about it. I don't mean to be rude or crude, but would you want that in your back door? I'm asking you, yes or no. Would you want this in your back door? No, you would not.
Are you asking for my answer on that? As far as it being in my backyard, I'll be quite honest with you. I was raised with animals and basically a dog kennel, so it's not something that would be that tragic to me. Now, do I want 100, 200 dogs in my backyard? No, I would not.
And so have I. I'm adopted. My dad was a veterinarian. I've been around animals all my life. But that's not to say that I want an animal shelter in my backyard. Again, this affects the value of our home, the value of our property. Again, not only do I live in that area, I have rental property in that area. So does Miss McClure. She depends on that. So do we, to supplement our income. Nobody's wants to rent a house with an animal shelter in their backyard.
Ms. Wilkins, that's why I was saying I don't even know that the sale is closed with SPCA. At that point, it will have to go through zoning, I'm sure, but I don't know. You'll have to get with Ron on that to find out even if it fits within the land use regulations.
So what is our next step to get something stopped? Let me
get with
there's
Ron.
80 acres at the landfill, and we also own property in Catoosa and Walker County, Georgia. Their dog shelter is out near their landfill where there's no residential areas around it. Why can't we put it out there?
It's not the county that's putting anything anywhere. It's the land went up for sale to be auctioned, so it's whoever purchased the land.
Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
That's all you got? Commissioner Thomas, please.
Okay,
Well,
Mr.
it's
Hughes.
my understanding that the commissioners have to vote on that to be rezoned.
All I was asking for was just the procedure. You know, you already presented, so that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Thompson.
They still it's gotta go before the zoning board yet. They can be here for that then, right?
They can be.
Yeah. They can be
The
here for the
quickest,
zoning.
Commissioner Thompson, the quickest way for her to find out anything right now, like I said, I don't even know that it's been presented as of yet. I don't see why it would be. But she can probably get with Ron Wilson, it's over zoning, and find out even if it fits within the land use. Because if it doesn't, I don't know where it would go from there.
Okay.
But that would be zoning that she needs to get with.
Could you maybe give her Ron's number or something there and let her?
Could show
better
her
get
right
hold
where
of
his
them.
office is at. If she wants to follow me out.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Commissioner Hughes, when is the next zoning meeting?
I would have to look. I think. Let me look on my calendar real quick.
I think that probably would be the next place that they could
It may
go
be
and discuss their.
Commissioner Rogers, it may be, but it may not even be on that. Like I said, if the sale's not complete, I don't know why it'd be rezoned, and so it may be on there, it may not be.
Mr. Chairman.
It will be on the 18th at noon and in this room.
18th of January.
18th of January.
Commissioner Ledford, please.
My understanding is that they're doing the survey on that property as we speak. My understanding.
I don't know.
But it hasn't closed. I guess the key point, it has not closed yet. Is that correct, Mayor? So, yeah, I doubt that it will appear before the planning commission until the property is closed. I could be wrong, but, is there anyone else, please?
But we're going to give them, we're going to give you all the number of the gentleman that's over this review. We'll do that after the meeting. Wilson, is it? His name is Wilson.
It is, but I was just informed something that was fairly important. Adam, if you'll speak on behalf of that.
I was just going to say it'll be voted by the planning commission as a use permitted, which is a vote that the planning commission makes to allow whether or not the use of the property will be permitted under the current zoning. It will not be a rezoning request, but you're right, it will come from the new owners once the sale of the property goes through.
Anyone else, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. I apologize about my hearing. I've got fluid in both my ears and I cannot hear anything today. Again, thank you.
All right, anyone else that would like to speak before the committee? Yes, sir.
My name is Stephen Hatchett. Obviously, I'm running for district attorney. I know pretty much all of you. I wanted to just real briefly pop in, say hello to all of you. As your reports show, the best government is government that is local government. Should the voters pay me the honor of serving as district attorney, I would certainly like to sit down with each and every one of you, discuss the issues that you see in your district. We have a lot of challenges. Mr. Logan talked about the opioid epidemic. We have the fentanyl that's pouring across our southern border. A lot of challenges that have to be confronted, and you all are the best people to know exactly what's going on in your districts. So should I become district attorney, I certainly want to work with each and every one of you. Whether you vote for me or not, I want to work with you about the things that you see in your district and the things that we can do better. So I just wanted to stop in, say hello to you all. I appreciate you recognizing me, Mr. Chairman, and you all have a great day.
Thank you very much. Anyone else, please? We'll go now to announcements. Voting session will be Tuesday, January the 16th at 12 p.m. here at the courthouse. Finance Committee immediately following this meeting. County offices will be closed January the 15th in observance of Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday. Legal and Legislative Committee, January the 16th at 11 a.m. here at the courthouse. We are adjourned.